Hello, and welcome to the base, big and small screens. Today, today I'd like to continue a little bit and talk about Willow, the Disney Plus TV series that came out. I talked a little bit about the first two episodes after I had seen it, and now I have seen all eight of them, and I have opinions. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But first, let's give my rating for the entire series now that I've seen it all. Um, Before, just with the first two episodes, I gave a rating of about 8.5 to 9 out of 10, somewhere in there. And my rating has changed a little bit, but not that much. My rating for the show, because they have done a lot of very interesting things. Some of these things are stuff that I may not agree with, in terms of, like, if I was in charge of a project like that and doing a story like that, I would have been like, I'd have done something different here. But that's just me basically fan casting or fan writing, uh, fan fiction, if you will, because I'm not writing the story. It's not my story. It's their story. They're telling it, and I may not like everything that they want to tell. These things happen. So my final rating for Willow, the TV series, is going to be 8. 8 out of 10. Uh, the reason it's fallen a little bit from the first two episodes is that there was some stuff that happened after those first two episodes. Some stuff that, well, let's get into the nitty gritty. So for those of you that haven't seen the show and are looking to see it, do I recommend watching it? Are you a fan of the original movie? Then yes, I would recommend watching this, because there is a lot in this series that is a kind of a love letter to the movie. There is some stuff in this series that may some people may see as taking the piss out of the original movie, and yeah, there's a little of that. There's also just so many good heartstring pulling moments that directly connect not only to these new characters but to the original movie as well, and I really enjoyed those. Despite the flaws in the show, I still really liked it. The flaws were not enough to pull me away from it, to make me be like, I don't want to see more of this. So yes, I'm going to recommend it. Um, so please, by all means, go ahead and watch this show, have a look, see what you think of it, and leave me some notes in the comments. Let me know what you thought of it. Uh, but now we're going to delve into spoiler territory. So you've been warned. Right. So the interesting thing about the Willow TV series is that it is a continuation of the movie. It picks up some, I don't know, 16, 17 years after the events of the movie. Uh, Elora Danan is all grown up. We don't find out who she is immediately. There is also the daughter and son of Sorsha and Mad Mardigan, Kit and Eric. Yes, Eric. Mad Mardigan named his son after his friend who died fighting Bavmorda. Like, wow. Uh, Kit is great. There is Kit's friend and lover, Jade. There is those two, LGBTQ romance. I'm here for it. There is the The Mad Mardigan character for the show, Borman, who is a absolute beefcake of a man, um, massive sword, and very much snarky, kind of off the wall, roguish type character. I'm very happy for him. Then there is Graydon, who is supposed to be who's the prince of another land, and is supposed to be engaged to Kit. They're supposed to get married. And then, of course, you have Willow, who's there. And in those first two episodes, there is the introduction of all these characters. There is the fact that the evil monsters attack and kidnap the prince for some reason, which I like. They kidnap the prince because the prince is not a fighter. The prince is absolutely just like a womanizing playboy type, sort of. He's not he's not womanizing in the he's just in it for his own pleasure. No, he's very much like the flighty type that's always finding somebody new. But this time he's fallen in love with a uh, someone who works in the kitchens of the castle. Uh, Beautiful blonde-haired woman named Dove, or at least that's what he calls her. Her real name is Hilda. And after the prince gets kidnapped, there's a big quest to go get him back. So Kit and Jade and Borman, he gets released from prison to go do this. Uh, and there's the general, who becomes relevant, sort of, a little bit. And then there's another guy, and then Dove wants to go along too, but they don't want her to go along. And there's stuff that happens, and it's really cool. And they go get Willow, and Willow goes and reveals that Dove is actually a Laura Dannon, that she was hidden to protect her identity. And so begins the drama as things unfurl over the next few episodes, because Willow has to teach her how to use her magic. But Willow is an older man now and kind of set in his ways, and has made some bad decisions over the years and doesn't realize that they're bad decisions. And so you have this older generation, younger generation of how you do things. There's drama with that. Kit Kit has always heard all of her life that Elora Danan is like going to save everybody, and yet in Kit's eyes, Elora Danan is nothing more than a scullery maiden. Like, she can't see why this person is so important, that her own father died to kind of protect her. It's There's some delicious drama going on there. There's also drama between Kit and Jade, because Kit is very much the tough uh, woman, has always been brought up to be kind of, you know, I'm going to be in charge, I need to be in control of myself. And yet she doesn't relate well to her feelings. And she has a journey of not only accepting that, but accepting Ilora Danan for who she is, and coming to terms with this and her own insecurities. That is Kit's journey across this whole thing. Alora's is a journey of self discovery, and Willow's Willow's journey is kind of a journey to let go. to not cling so hard to the past. And there's this big epic quest, and they run into cool things, uh, as well as Mad Mardigan, or sort of. Mad Mardigan isn't featured in this. What they've done, however, they've taken Val Kilmer's son and used his voice and then vocally edited it to sound more like Mad Mardigan's, and used him to deliver lines because sadly Val Kilmer has suffering from throat cancer and cannot talk really at all. I know they were hoping to try and get him back for this, and they did the best they could in it. And I think it was a really nice homage to him how they did that. There's so many moments in this where my heart just was like, I cried. But then there were other moments. I know I watched this with a friend of mine, and she had things to say about some of the costuming and a couple of the set designs and so on. She's very big into this sort of thing. I wouldn't have noticed if she hadn't pointed it out to me. There was the costuming department changes were a thing. There was also the music. They were using very modern day music in a fantasy epic. And it was very strange. Some of their choices worked, some of their choices didn't. The dialogue as well. A lot of the dialogue absolutely sounds like it comes from a fantasy epic. You have people delivering like lines that I would expect to hear from Lord of the Rings. And then you have people delivering lines like I would expect to hear from a high school drama. And sometimes they clashed a lot. Other times they didn't. Like they've been doing a lot of neat things in this show and different things and kind of going their own way. It's like they got caught up trying to not only make a show that was their own thing, but also making a show that was a continuation of this old movie that they loved. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that at any point their choices are a complete detriment to this series. I think that every choice that they made and the things that they were doing are coming at this from a place of love. That they love this old movie and want to like make a series, but also want to make it appealing to new people. And I get that. There's just some jarring. The biggest thing for me is the trolls. The trolls come back because we only got to see the trolls like once during the battle at Tirasleen, where Willow zapped one of them and turned it into a giant two-headed fire-breathing thing. So we saw some trolls there, and they were in the movie, in the original movie, very much bestial creatures. It did not seem like they had much in the way of intelligence to them. They were very much kind of like uh, monster gorillas in a way. Is kind of how they were presented in the movie. In this series, we run into the trolls again at a large scale mining operation that the trolls are running. And they speak. They speak very good English. English, I say. But they speak and are able to be understood by all of the other characters. And they speak in a very civilized manner. the way their words are enunciated. One of the trolls is almost effeminate in presentation in how he speaks, and it's so jarring to me because at no point in any of the previous episodes or the movie is it even hinted at that this is a thing. And I kind of get what they were going for. I think. I think what they were trying to do is have uh, the crone's power being like elevating the trolls or having elevated the trolls over the years. Which, if that's what they were going for, that's cool. I'm down for that. Yes. The big thing that really stood out to me is how like it seemed to be too much. If they had if they had like dialed back the civilized aspect a little bit, still had them able to speak and converse, but have them be a little bit more feral in nature, like a little bit more violent and animalistic while still being able to have conversations. Like that, I feel would make them feel more like the trolls from the movie while still being something new, like that intermediary step. I think that would have landed better for me personally. But as it is, it just seemed to come across very jarring to me. And is one of the things. But overall, overall, and I ain't getting into spoilers for the ending. Uh, Overall, it is a really good series. Uh, they do the only spoiler that I will mention is that they did a thing in this series where there was a book that would open up and show the beginning of the next chapter that we were watching with complete with a drawing and everything, and it would zoom into the drawing and the drawing would become real, and then at the end it would do the opposite. And at the end of this series they did this and the book closed, and then it showed someone putting that book up on a shelf next to volumes 2 and 3, which tells me that what they are doing, some of what some of the things that I didn't quite understand why they were included in this series, because there was definitely some stuff that was included, little moments here and there that would happen, and then we'd go on and do something else, and I'd be left wondering why that was there. Why did they feel the need to include this? I have a feeling, I have a feeling that those moments are there as setup for the next two volumes, the next two series that they do, that they're hoping to do. So that's the only spoiler that I'm giving you. That there's going to be more if they get their way. But overall, I think Willow was a good series. I enjoyed it, even if there was some moments that I had to be like, "What are you doing? What are you doing, show? You're being very weird." But for the most part, I enjoyed it. I think it's a good show, despite the flaws that are in it. So if you are interested in watching it, by all means, go check it out. I would recommend it. Just know going in that there is some choices were made. Choices were made for this show. Uh, that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I will leave you with that, and give me a comment down below as to what you thought of Willow and maybe what sort of show you would like me to check out next. Movie, TV, anime? By all means, throw me a comment in the thing and I will see if I can do it. But until then, you all stay safe, keep hydrating, keep doing what you need to do, and I'll see you next time.